Today we're going to talk about some of my most anticipated book releases for Q3, which would be July, August, and September. Now, most of these books are going to be thriller books because I have a really hard time finding romances that I'm interested in. I am someone that loves just like the very emotional romances that like make you cry, that are about like older couples, maybe even married couples. I just don't go for the normal, you know, like smutty romance, enemies to lovers, that kind of thing. I don't think that there's any romances on this list, but I do think I found just maybe one or two historical fiction that I'm interested in reading, since that's something that I am slowly getting into. But yeah, most of these are going to be thriller books that I'm excited for. So I am hoping that I could do like a new release thriller reading vlog this summer, probably, yeah, like July or August, since I'm doing daily vlogs in June. I hope you guys are excited for that because I haven't done like a new release vlog in a really long time, and I really need to start focusing on getting some of my NetGalley reads read, especially since I requested a lot of these on NetGalley. Okay, I was gonna start in July, but actually while I was doing my research, I did find a historical fiction book that I think I want to try out, but it's actually coming out here in June. So it's gonna be June 18th, and this is Jackie. It's historical fiction because it's about Jacqueline Kennedy, but it's also kind of like a biography, I guess. Fun fact is my name Jacqueline was actually because named kind of after Jacqueline Kennedy. Like my family, I guess, like liked that name because of her. And so because of Jacqueline Onassis, my grandfather nicknamed me Jackie O, which turned into the nickname of Oski my entire life. So anyway, that's a fun fact. But I saw this and I was like, you know what? That actually sounds really good. I don't know much about Jacqueline Kennedy, so I would love to read this and see what it's like. So I am going to try this out, but this does come out in June, so it's technically not part of this Q3, it was Q2. Okay, so starting out here in July, on July 2nd, we have The Haters by Robin Harding. Now, I have read, I think, multiple books by Robin Harding. I wouldn't say that she's like a favorite author or anything, and I don't think her books, I don't think I've had a 5-star, but I do believe her books are easy reading thrillers, and I usually like her like synopsis, her premise of the story. This one says, Cameron Lane is living her dream. After years of struggle and rejection, her first novel has finally been published. Her editor is happy, her teenage daughter is proud, and her boyfriend and friends are all excited. But then she starts receiving disturbing messages from an unknown sender. Then she starts getting really bad ratings on a popular book site. So she gets this like 1-star review, and then she keeps getting like harassed. So it kind of almost sounds like The Last Word, is that what the book was, that Taylor Adams wrote, where the whole like 1-star review kind of thing. So that is intriguing to me, but I'll be interested to see like, is this book good or is it just kind of mediocre like some of her other books? But you know, I'm interested. Okay, then we have a historical fiction that I was interested in. So July 9th, it's The Briar Club by Kate Quinn. I actually haven't read anything by this author, but this is in Washington, D.C. in the 1950s. So that is a time period that I am interested to learn more about, because I always say, oh, I would love to be a 1950s housewife. Who knows? But it says that everyone keeps to themselves at Briarwood House, a down-at-the-heels, all-female boarding house in the heart of the nation's capital, where secrets hide behind a white picket fence. But when the lovely, mysterious widow Grace moves into the attic, she draws her oddball collection of neighbors into unlikely friendship. Apparently, it's about like all of these different women living in this female boarding house. And I think from someone's like review I was reading, it said that it's like 8 chapters, and each chapter is about each woman. So I'm just curious, because of like it being 1950s, it would be so interesting to see like how all different women lived in the 1950s, not just you know, reading a book about a 1950s housewife or something. Okay, next up we have on July 23rd, Imaginary Strangers by Minka Kent. I have read 1 or 2 other books by Minka Kent, and I think I enjoyed them. I haven't read one by her in a really long time. This says, Camille Prescott has it all. You know, they always start like that. A doting husband, 2 children, a charming home in a seaside enclave, and a beautiful fixed smile that excludes normalcy. But behind her polished mask lurks a much different Camille, one with a padlocked vault of secrets. Raised by a vindictive and psychotic woman, Camille has gone to great lengths to bury her past, and for good reason. If her mother ever finds her, she will kill her. But nothing can prepare Camille for the day of her 6-year-old daughter starts showing signs of unsettling familiar behavior, including an imaginary new friend who casts a disturbing influence on everything the little girl says and does. It's like, okay, she grew up with a crazy mom, I guess, but then now her daughter is acting creepy. See how that goes. Okay, next we're going into August. So on August 6th, we have House of Glass by Sarah Pekkanen. So I'm very interested. I used to read the books when they were like Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen writing together. And then I think I might have read one just by Sarah by herself. A young nanny who plunged to her death, or was she pushed? A 9-year-old girl who collects sharp objects and refuses to speak. A lawyer whose job it is to uncover who in the family is a victim and who is a murderer. But how can you find out the truth when everyone here is lying? I usually like nanny books, or I like the concept of them. So I used to be a nanny for a couple years. So we'll see how that goes. And now this next one comes out August 6th. It is The Chamber by Will Dean. Now, let me just tell you, it sounds really good, but I have a really hard time sometimes with, well, actually all the time probably, I have a really hard time with books that are happening all at one time, that are like, I guess technically locked room, that are, you know, happening in like a day with just people talking, because what else is there to tell you in a book about people talking? So anyway, this sounds really good, but I don't know if I'm gonna like how it's written, which makes me hesitant. 6 experienced saturation divers are locked inside a hyperbaric chamber. Calm and professional, they know that rapid decompression would be fatal, so they work in shifts, breathing helium and surviving in hot, close quarters. Then one of them is found dead in his bunk. With 4 days of decompression to go before the locked hatch to the chamber can safely open, the group must watch one another's backs at all time. And when another diver is discovered unresponsive, everyone is on edge. What or who is taking them out one by one, and will any of them still be alive by the time the 4 days is up, or will paranoia, exhaustion, suspicion, and pressure destroy them all? What I'm worried about is there gonna be way too much description and people just talking about nothing? Because when you write a book where everything happens within a day or a couple days, I just always find it really boring, because it's just like the same thing over and over again. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, that's how I've been with every other book that's kind of like that, so I'm kind of scared. On August 13th, Dear Hannah by 𝒎𝒂𝒛𝒐𝒏 𝑺𝒕𝒐𝒏𝒕. Now, I read Baby Teeth years ago. It wasn't my favorite, but I'm gonna give this one a try, because this is like the sequel to it finally or something. But yeah, so this I guess is when Hannah grows up, because in Baby Teeth she was like a kid sociopath or whatever. Now she's an adult sociopath. So Hannah is no stranger to dark thoughts. As a young child, she tries to murder her own mother, but that was more than 16 years ago. And extensive therapy and writing letters to her younger brother has since curbed those nasty tendencies. Now 24, Hannah is living an outwardly normal life of domestic content. Married to real estate agent Jacob, she's also stepmother to his teenage daughter, Joelle. They live in a beautiful home, and Hannah loves her career. Hannah reverts to old habits. We're gonna see. So that one actually does sound really good. I'm excited for that one. Okay, July 23rd, Lucinda Berry, love her. If You Tell a Lie, I think is her new book coming out. They never considered how his wife might react, or that by the end of the summer, a man would be dead. But Blakely always got her way, and the others followed her lead, even when they knew it was dead wrong. The girls had been friends from day one at Camp Pendleton, a haven for gifted children, but their senior summer was different. When Mr. Crosby, the handsome tennis coach, wound up murdered after a reckless lie, Then all the girls swore themselves to secrecy and never spoke to each other again. It kind of sounds like Pretty Little Liars almost. So I'm excited for that because I love Pretty Little Liars, and I usually like listening to Barry's books, or like I've loved some of her books and then some of her others are okay. So I'm excited for that. Okay, then we have in August 20th, By Any Other Name is Jodi Picoult's new book. Now I do enjoy Jodi Picoult, but I am hesitant about this one because the thing with Jodi's books is that the synopsis never reels me in. Never, ever, ever, ever. But my friend Lena, over at Lena's bookshelf, I'll try and link her down below or up here if I can. She is the one that really got me into Jodi Picoult, and she will hand me a Jodi Picoult book and she will give me, she's so good at buzzwords. She'll give me buzzwords and she'll say, this is about a school shooting and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, wow, I would have never known that if I just read the synopsis. And it's not like she gives away like the actual, you know, thrill, the actual plot, you know, it's just that she is so good at giving buzzwords for me to be like, okay, I want to read that. I like that subject line. So that's how I feel about this one. I'm like, just reading the synopsis, it just doesn't feel like something I would like. But Jodi always has these like big themes in her books that you never know about until like you actually read them. And then she always has these really good like thrills and twists in her books, and I love the emotion, and I usually always love her characters. So this is two women centuries apart, one of whom is the real author of Shakespeare's plays, are both forced to hide behind another name to make their voices heard. In 1581, I don't know about that. Amelia, like most young women of her day, is allowed no voice of her own, but as the Lord Chamberlain's mistress, she has access to all theater in England. I also am not into like theater, plays, poems. I don't know, I'm scared. She creates these dramatic masterpieces, but it comes at a great cost. By paying a man for the use of his name, she will write her own out of history. Then in the present, playwright Melina Green has just written a New York inspired by the life of her Elizabeth ancestor, this Amelia. Although the challenges are different 400 years later, the playing field is still not level for women in theater. So it's kind of about them forfeiting their names as women in order to be a part of this. I don't know, the theater thing, oof. I hope I like it. Okay, last one. This one comes out August 29th. This is Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty. Now, I loved Big Little Lies. I read it when I first was getting into reading. I actually read it in the beach, and that is a pretty large book, and I read it in a day at the beach. That's how good it was. I did read some of her other books, and they were nah, you know, they were like a 3-star. They weren't amazing or anything. I haven't read something by her in a really long time. So I'm excited for this one because it just sounds so incredibly good. I love premises like this. If you knew your future, would you try to fight fate? Aside from a delay, there will be no problems. The flight will be smooth. It will land safely. Everyone who gets on the plane will get off, but almost all of them will be forever changed because on this ordinary short domestic flight, something extraordinary happens. People learn how and when they are going to die. For some, their death is far in the future. Age 103, they laugh. But for 6 passengers, their predicted deaths are not far away at all. And then these people start dying. So I am just, I love books like this. I love books about like, what would you do if you knew different moments of your life? Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Oh, I just love that, where it's like, you know, her life split, and depending upon her, you know, what she chose, like, I don't know, it's so good. But I also really enjoy books where it's like, okay, you know you're going to die. How are you going to live during that? Do you want to know, you know, how you're going to die? I don't know why. I guess I'm just fascinated with this kind of stuff because I actually have a fear of death. I want to live a very long life. I have lots of things I still want to do. I want to watch all my children, grandchildren, all that grow up. So I do not want to die soon. But I always just think all the time about like, you know, if I was in this situation, would I want to know? Probably not. If I was in this situation, or if I had the situation of the other books where like, you know, you could see your life in different paths. Like, I don't know. It's not like I don't like my life. I love my life. It's just, it's fascinating to me, the idea of it all, you know, because the grass is never ever greener. There are sometimes it's greener at some points and then it's bad at other points. Anyway, okay, so I think that was it. Those were all of the books that I am excited about for the next quarter. Let me know down in the comments actually, books that are coming out that you're excited for, whether they're thriller, emotional romance, or historical fiction, or something you think I would like, because I don't always keep up with everything that's going on and sometimes I'm missing things, or because I'm new to historical fiction, I actually don't really know much of the historical fiction that's coming out. I would love to hear what you're excited for, and maybe I'll add some to my list. But I hope you guys loved this video, and I'll see you guys very soon in another video. Bye everyone.